Follow the money.
That's what I always say. You always follow the money.
Yeah.
This is Follow the Money with Mitch Moss and Pauly Howard on VSiN.
Here we go. Welcome in. It is Follow the Money on VSiN, the sports betting network. Mitch Moss, Pauly Howard, live with you in downtown Las Vegas from the Circa Resort and Casino. Finally, Pauly, we made it to the big game. It's here. And by big game, I mean all of them in college football, beginning, well, in about 90 minutes. We have great guests on the program throughout the 3-hour show today. And in 90 minutes, we do get kickoff here in South Florida between the Bulls and the Boise State Broncos, Pauly. And that's where, obviously, we begin this game today. The game opened up 10, for those of you who don't know. I'm sure most of you do. It has been bet down now over the weeks, and as it continues to go down in the favor of South Florida, I mean, even when it got to 6.5, below 7, I'm like, man, is that too big of a move? Then it goes to 6. Yesterday on the show, it was almost 5.5 everywhere with a 5 out there. Well, the money keeps coming on South Florida. Here at Circa, Boise State is currently a 5-point favorite. There are 5s out there when you look offshore. Other books are showing 5.5. Some of the exchanges out there, like Novig, 4.5 right now on the game. When will it stop before kickoff?
Well, I'll tell you, they knew what they were doing, though. You're talking about with the heat index, you're looking at 100 degrees. So this afternoon start and how it's going to be in Tampa with the weather. But as Adam Burke wrote today, VSiN.com, this is an enormous game. You know, number one, South Florida, see what kind of season they can have. And Golish does an incredible job taking over a program that was 1-11. He goes 7-6 and 7-6. How about this to start? Boise State, then Florida, then Miami. That's how the Bulls start the season. And they also go to Memphis later in the season as well. But Boise is plus 180 to make the playoff at DraftKings. If they lose this game, because they're like a 14, 15-point dog at Notre Dame, there's no room for error. You're not going to get in with 3 losses.
No, you have to run the table at that point, other than the Notre Dame game.
So, and then fans of the little guy watching this, that it might have a good team, a James Madison, a Memphis, someone like that. Yeah. Your next choice then is Tulane at 8-1 with the second best odds. So, as bad as the Mountain West looked to start in week 0, and if Boise State stubs their toe today, it really opens things up for a team to make the playoff. And Boise, but I believe in the program. I played louder over 47.5 receiving yards. I love the tight end. I like Madsen, the quarterback. And now the big question is the running back by committee, and they lose an all-time great who had one of the best seasons ever for a running back in the history of college football.
Yeah, so what does that mean for tonight's game, right? Because when you wipe away 2,600 rushing yards and 29 touchdowns, that's not going to be replaced. But what if, like the committee that they have in the backfield to take over for Ashton Jeanty can combine for 1,800 yards this year and 15 touchdowns? They would take that, I'm guessing. But more than that, I'm curious, like overall, they averaged 6.7 yards per play last year. Where does that number go in 2025? Also on third down, Boise State was awesome. They picked him up 49.5% of the time.
Great on third down, sacks, yes.
Yeah, they had 55 sacks last year, which was really, really good. Defensively, South Florida, they allowed only 34.2% of third downs to be picked up, and time of possession like last year. So South Florida runs an offense called the veer and shoot. That's kind of like what Art Briles did at Baylor, and they only averaged 25 minutes time of possession last year per game. And with that in mind, what do we make of the total here tonight at 61.5 with the heat, with the humidity? And I can't get that game at Georgia Southern out of my head last year. Again,
that's a good point.
Conditions were similar, and you couldn't get a stop if you paid for it last year.
Yeah. Well, I'm not so much the conditions, although you might be right. It's what happened in the first 2 games. The defense was good, but they got off to a terrible start. The Georgia Southern game and then the game after that. So you give up more than 30 points. Or excuse me, you give up 80 points in your first 2 games, and then you shut everyone down the rest of the way. So 5 of your top 10 players are back on defense, but that's the case for South Florida. Brown is too good, the quarterback. He goes over his rushing yards. They can't contain him. Maybe you force a turnover. You adjust to a life after Jeanty, and the heat and humidity wears them out. in the fourth quarter. And that takes a while to get things right on the defensive side of the ball for Boise State. That's your case for the Bulls.
Sure, and if South Florida can jump on them early, and again, this money that just keeps coming in, man, people love this team in the game. So let's assume South Florida gets out to the early lead. That tells me that Boise's going to start pressing, and they're going to probably throw the ball more than they anticipated maybe coming into the game, and they might have to anyway, because if the backs are not going to be there to replace Genty, and again, you can't really use that word because you can't expect that to happen, but if they have to throw the ball maybe a little bit more tonight, I think 61.5 might be a little bit of a low total, and these, and if South Florida is going to be running that fast of an offense, how many players are going to get gassed defensively here for Boise State? And then maybe if you flip it over to South Florida as well. But at some point here, if this keeps going down to where, does it touch 4?
I would know. I don't know. That can't happen.
Hard Rock just moved to 4.5 right now.
But what are people doing? Game's been up for months. I don't get it.
There has to be buyback on Boise at some point.
I know people want action, but this is, you could have grabbed 9.5 all summer. And now you want to come in late.
All right.
So, huge game, though. Huge game.
Yeah, and we'll talk about it. We'll keep you updated, by the way, after it kicks off on the live betting numbers and go through the game as well.
Yeah, good game to bet in play. You're right.
Okay, so you also have a bet in the East Carolina-North Carolina State game, which the Wolfpack opened up 12.5, got to 14. Actually, I think it got a little bit higher than that, now 14, and the total here is 61.5. They played last year in the Military Bowl.
It's a brawl.
Yeah, 26-21 was the score. The Pirates got them. On-field brawl, like you talked about. There was a really good write-up today from Ryan McGee at ESPN.com. He's from the area. And he did a good job explaining, like, nobody gets it, but this rivalry is awesome. And these players really don't like each other, and the fans kind of don't like each other as well. 43% of the production is back at ECU. That's 103rd nationally. NC State has 61% of their production back. What do you like here?
I took NC State 13.5. I just think that I changed my mind on this game. The revenge for what happened. Graham Harrell did a great job. They closed 5-1 last year and won 8 games, but they only returned 6 starters. I think NC State will be too much. They just don't have anything defensively. I think NC State will do what they want, and Bailey will have a big game through the air against East Carolina's defense. And I think you're talking about maybe 37, 38 points for NC State, and that should be enough, although I like Hauser, the quarterback for East Carolina. But that's going to be the big theme on this show today, on some of the games we talk about. Just a lot of teams lose several players.
Oh, sure.
Especially Dessa. I mean, we'll talk about a team coming up. They return one guy on the defensive side of the offensive side of the ball. Mm-hmm. So I just think NC State will do what they want offensively, and a little bit of revenge for what happened in a bowl game and get the win and cover.
Well, I'll tell you this, and I brought it up earlier in the week. I'm treading lightly with the bets that I'm going to have. They're not going to be normal size bets for the college football season. I don't know what these teams are going to look like for the most part. Pretty much nobody does, right? And again, I'm a little panicked after watching Farmageddon, and the kid for K-State makes the decision to field the punt at the 8-yard line when 2 guys are coming at him like a heat-seeking missile. Terrible decision. And then the opening kickoff return for Hawaii. What the hell was that? So, I'm going to tread a little bit lightly with these games. I'll tell you, there is an angle tonight, though, with the Central Arkansas-Missouri game. Missouri laying 36.5, 37 in that neighborhood, total about 51.5 or so. Missouri's got 58% of their production back. Now, they play their first 6 games at home. The first roadie comes in the middle of October. Now this game's all the way up to 38.5 here at Circa. Longtime quarterback Brady Cook is gone, as is all-world wide receiver Luther Burden. Both quarterbacks are playing for Mizzou. Jobs are on the line here. So the idea of head coach Eli Drinkwitz keeping the foot on the gas kind of makes sense for the entire game. There's also this. Missouri has averaged almost 59 points per game in their last 8 games versus FCS teams. And you have to love some of these quotes from the Mizzou head coach when he said this week, quote, "I think both quarterbacks have done an excellent job of doing things that we've asked them to do. There wasn't enough separation that I felt like there's a clear-cut starter, and so the next best evaluation is in a live football game to see how these guys respond, not only to prep in a game plan, but also to a crowd, and also respond to being tackled and being hit." And he was asked about, maybe rotating guys in a different manner, and he said, "I've done that before when you alternate every 2 series or each quarter, and I did not like the feel for that." We did it in 2023 where we played both halves, and I felt like it gave our offense a chance to get some rhythm, and it gave our quarterbacks a chance to be evaluated. So their team total is 45.5 here in the game tonight. You also have to lay about 21.5 in the first half. I just think they're going to come out guns a-blazing for all 60 minutes, and maybe this total, now all the way up to 53.5, is a little bit, let's move, but...
Good move, big move on Oklahoma State, too, in an added game as well that goes off. So, and we also got a game in an hour and 2 hours with Ohio and Rutgers as well. That's I talked to Richie Bachelleri before the show. He's getting coffee. He makes the game 10. Where's it going to stop on this game? Nothing but Rutgers money.
He makes the game 10.
He made it 10.
What did you bet?
I took Rutgers because Ohio loses everyone on defense and they lose their coach, and Shiano's been great non-conference at Rutgers. So I think they come out and jump on them early. But
he made it 10.
Yeah.
Wow.
He doesn't get the move at all.
I'll go,
He's baffled by it.
It's one game, but remember, Richie made Farmageddon, Iowa State -1. And he said on the air with us, he's not allowed to bet at Circa. Circa was the only book showing 4, but he goes, if I can find a 4 out there, I'm absolutely taking the Cyclones.
Yeah. If you can find Finn, can't find it, the Miami, Ohio quarterback rushing yards prop. Wisconsin had issues against scrambling quarterbacks. I think this kid will take off and go. It's a good one. It's what, seventh year quarterback? Been all over the place.
Not quite enough. Need some more time.
Yeah, right. Yeah. But a lot of people go to college for 8 years, right? Call doctors. But if you can find a Finn rushing prop, I think that's good.
A lot of hype for this former Blue Blood again this year, but their opponent is no cupcake. We'll talk about it coming up next.
Follow the money. That's what I always say. You always follow the money. Yeah.
This is Follow the Money with Mitch Moss and Pauly Howard on VSiN.
Welcome in. Week 1 tonight. Hell, 30 minutes from right now. Boise and South Florida kick off. And we'll talk college football to begin this hour. Thanks for checking in, watching the show here this afternoon on YouTube TV or listening on Sirius XM channel 158. Right now we head out to the Progressive Guest Line as Adam Rittenberg is kind enough to join us here on Game Day. He covers college football for ESPN. Adam, thanks for the time today. How are you?
I'm doing great. How you guys doing?
Doing really well.
Good, sir.
So on the board tonight, 4 Big Ten teams are in action. I won't include Nebraska here because they're like less than a touchdown favorite against Cincinnati. Of the other 3 home teams, Rutgers, Wisconsin, and Minnesota, they're all laying more than 2 touchdowns against their opponents. Of the 3 home teams, is there a Big Ten squad tonight that you're maybe a little bit concerned about the most?
Yeah, I would say, until proven otherwise with the new offense, I think there's reason to be concerned about Wisconsin. I understand, why they made their changes. They had to make their changes, bringing in Jeff Grimes as their new offensive coordinator. Billy Edwards Jr. was a quarterback they spent a lot of money on coming in from Maryland to really start and have their offense look like it used to. But again, this is the first game, and first games are tricky, and sometimes it takes a little time to establish, your new identity, which should look a lot more like the Wisconsin football we're used to seeing. So I think those other teams are a little bit more established. Rutgers returning a quarterback. Minnesota's had a very similar offensive philosophy for a number of years, even though they're breaking in a new quarterback in Drake Lindsey. So, Wisconsin, because of how they've performed the last 2 years and how dramatic a shift this is philosophically on the offensive side, would probably be the one I'm a little concerned about.
All right, Adam, hang tight here. We have some major breaking news in the National Football League. We just touched on this last hour. I'm going to fall off my chair. Ian Rappaport has it, NFL Network. The Cowboys are trading Micah Parsons to Green Bay, and they agreed to a 4-year, $188 million deal. I'm stunned. I'm absolutely blown away, and they're going to get 2 first-rounders in return.
I got it. It's his Herschel Walker moment. It's his Herschel Walker moment. I can't believe it.
Wow.
They gave him all that money, and they go, oh, my God. The nachos. The nachos did it.
Great. Sorry about that, Adam, but that's unbelievable news.
You're breaking my heart. As a Bears fan, this is that's not great news if you're a fan of another team in the NFC North.
Yeah, you don't want to hear that. And by the way, so then I was talking about this, right? This is why I'm so stunned. This is something Green Bay has not done over the years. They don't go after big free agents, and they certainly don't make big trades.
No, it's a stunner. Although certainly that had been a team that you'd heard rumored as a possible suit. I mean, who wouldn't want a player like Micah, who I covered in college at Penn State, had a really good feeling how he was going to transition to the NFL. And wow, what a move for the Packers.
Yeah. What do you make of PJ Fleck now? Another year at Minnesota.
Yeah.
Pauly here is from the area, and he thought he expected really big things out of him. He's maybe fallen a little bit short of that, but what do you make of PJ Fleck here in Minnesota this season?
Well, again, consistency-wise, I think PJ's done a great job. I mean, very few losing seasons, very few seasons that aren't at least in that, 7-8 win range. I think the problem, again, is when you have that, people want more, understandably. And, he had this breakthrough season in 2019 where they won 11 games, and they haven't been able to get back there. And it's hard to do at Minnesota. There's a reason they haven't won a Big Ten championship since 1968. And PJ talked about it actually in Vegas at Big Ten Media Days last month, how they need to be on the right side of one-score games because talent-wise, they're not going to just overwhelm people like some of the other teams in the conference. So in 2019, they were on the right side of that number. Last year, not so much. They blew a game against Penn State that they seemingly had in control on their home field. They ended up losing that one. Michigan game on the road, had a really good opportunity to beat the Wolverines and fell short. So I think those are the types of games, and really starting from the opening loss to North Carolina, how they perform in close games is really going to dictate their overall record, because I think they have a lot of solid elements.
This is such a good league, and they're the defending champs the last 2 years, and there's some depth here and a lot of intrigue what's going on. What do you make of Michigan and the freshman Underwood taking over?
Well, I think Underwood is a guy that really represents a shift philosophically for Michigan. They hadn't put money into their two freshmen coming out of high school. They've done pretty well in the transfer portal. They've done well in keeping players, but they made a push starting last summer, really through the fall, to get Bryce Underwood, who grew up 20, 25 minutes from campus, to change his commitment to Michigan, and he did, and now he's starting, and he'll maybe be the face of the program here for the next 3 years, and that's an exciting thing for Michigan because they couldn't pass the ball at all last year. One of the worst overall offenses in college football, and we know defensively they'll be really good to elite. That's just how it is at Michigan. But certainly Underwood is a big part of getting them right on offense.
And are we expecting big things here from Matt Rule in year 3? That's obviously the biggest narrative going into the season for the Cornhuskers, as he did, wonders. He worked wonders at Temple in year number 3 and also at Baylor.
No doubt. This is the year that Matt has had success, and it's certainly positioned for another jump forward after finally making a bowl game, first time for Nebraska in 7 seasons last year. And they bring back their quarterback in Dylan Raiola. They bring back their offensive play caller and Dana Holgerson. I know they're really excited about their offensive line, a group that had fallen off for a number of years, but we all remember how dominant Nebraska's best teams have been on the offensive line. And then defensively, they're pretty solid, even though they have a coordinator change. Schedule sets up well. Tonight's essentially a home game against Cincinnati. They don't play a road game until mid-October at Maryland. And so the schedule falls nicely for them to take another step. Now, is that a step to 8 wins? Or is that a step to 10 wins? Then we're talking about a lot bigger things for the Huskers in year 3.
Very good. You can follow Adam on X. He is at ESPN Rittenberg. Thanks so much for a couple of minutes today, Adam. Enjoy the games tonight. We appreciate it.
Okay, thanks for having me, guys.
You got it.
There you go. And he was on the Progressive guest line.
I can't believe it. We just talk about it. And then when Adam comes on, it happens. I thought Luke said 49ers in our ear. But how about this? The city of Dallas has seen Parsons and Luka traded away both at the age of 26.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
I can't believe it.
I'm literally stunned.
I'm not shocked that they did it. I'm shocked that we just talked about it, and then 2 seconds later, it's done for the pitch.
I don't even know how to react to this, to be honest. As somebody who has followed that team, as I just said, this is something that they do not do. This is a great tweet from Tripp. The Parsons trade is Ed policy, following in the footsteps of his dad, Carmen. His dad was always making big moves in San Francisco with the Niners. The apple does not fall far from the tree. No, and it's a new era here in Green Bay. I'm going down the list right now in my head of big-time acquisitions that they made. Again, forget trades for a second. The Reggie White free agent signing was, God
Right.
told him to go there.
God told him to go there, yeah.
Also, Charles Woodson, massive.
Yeah.
He was so good with Green Bay when he came over, signed a huge deal. And Peppers came over, defensive lineman. Jabril Peppers?
But remember all those years Favre begged him to get Moss?
Begged him.
Wouldn't do it.
Would not go out and make a move for him.
No, it happened when he at the end of Minnesota. But I can't believe this. And then it was all about the agent too, apparently, coming in too, getting 100. I think it's 120 fully guaranteed. I thought Jerry said he would give him 200. But he's the highest paid non-quarterback in the NFL history, and he gets 104 for 190.
Well, this opened up the Green Bay Super Bowl window here.
Oh, wow.
I didn't even think they had a window. I didn't think they were good enough to win the Super Bowl this year. I'm not going to tell you that because of this they're going to win it, but certainly this changes things a little bit, man. They have been in like dire need of a major playmaker, a ball hawk on defense for a minute, and this is the guy. 26 in his prime, can wreck teams offensively.
What a division.
Oh, no kidding.
Are the 6.5s gone next week, by the way? Now it's official, no Parsons.
Well, I don't think...
there were 6.5s last week while you're on vacation.
Yeah. No, I remember that.
Because he wasn't playing after he did that nacho stuff and laying on the table. And then you got to rebuild with Brian Schottenheimer. Oh, this is good.
Is this good enough to make Green Bay surpass? You were high on them anyway. I wasn't.
Well, I'm down on Detroit.
This certainly can change things a little bit in that division for sure.
Yeah, I'm not there with Minnesota.
By the way,
because of McCarthy, I think Detroit takes a step back, and the Packers made the playoffs last year. They just had some bad injury luck, and I would think Love would improve. We'll see what's going on with the thumb, but this is a game changer, a game wrecker. You're right.
FanDuel, the first book to go to 7.5 on Philadelphia in Week 1 against Dallas, and it looks like FanDuel, DK, Caesars, BetMGM now, Green Bay showing 2.5. in the game against the Lions in Week 1. That's at Lambeau. That's an afternoon game, Week 1. The Week 1 schedule is it's as good as I can ever remember. At the same time, that game's going on as Houston at the Rams, Niners at the Seahawks.
They took down division odds.
You know what? They'll put them back up probably in the next 20 minutes, I'm guessing.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Most spots will. Holy smokes. I'm floored.
That's how you start the season. That's how you do it. That's awesome.
So these
people.
Yeah.
Was it last week? He just there's no way I'm trading him. Dismissed it. No way. But this is also about the agent being now Jerry violated the CBA what he was doing. You can't just sit there, eye contact, handshake. We have an agreement. The agent's not involved. I'm talking to Parsons. But this whole thing about the agent, stick that sheet up, where. We can play that audio that when he was on Michael Irvin's YouTube channel. Oh my God.
Quite the comments, Pauly. I mean, you don't hear that every single day.
I have the deal done. I'm just signing it over for you to, and the agent's like, get out of here. No way. No, we're not even close. Because you talked months ago, and then the Watt deal and the Garrett thing happened.
Yeah.
Our betting splits cut through the noise, pulling real-time data straight from Circa and DraftKings. Track the percentage of bets and handle on every game across every major sport so you can make sharper, more informed bets. Start your edge today. Just $9.99. VSiN.com/subscribe.
All right, more reaction. We'll keep searching for numbers with Green Bay that involve Green Bay and Dallas coming up next after that absolute blockbuster. And Boise State and South Florida kicking off in about 20 minutes. We'll discuss it from a betting perspective next here on VSiN.
This is Follow the Money on VSiN.
Part of the reason why I told you in the at the end of the first hour why I don't want to watch this documentary on the Cowboys is because I hate them. I know we're not supposed to admit things like that. We're not supposed to have any but here's why. I grew up in the state of Wisconsin. I was actually a Barry Sanders fan. Loved him.
Mm-hmm.
My older brother he was a complete maniac with the Dallas Cowboys, living in Wisconsin. I never understood that.
That's bizarre.
At least me loving Barry Sanders, the state's right next door. And I loved him in college anyway.
Couldn't beat him.
So I always heard Emmitt Smith, and he meant it. He was not joking around. So much better than Barry Sanders. Look at the numbers. You can't deny it. I was like, oh my God. He just sent me a text 3 minutes ago. F the Packers.
There you go. How about that? That is something.
So that's why.
Got that.
I'm allowed to have a disdain for certain teams. That would be one of them.
You'll enjoy the documentary. They got everyone to talk. How about quickly, episode 7? Quickly. Michael Irvin is caught on camera buying drugs. He then goes to a hotel room with strippers. The police come in. There's drugs everywhere and toys and other stuff. Then he gets arrested for that. So now it's Texas, so they don't mess around. He's looking at 20 years. And then while the trial's going on, a Dallas cop puts a hit out on him. He was involved with the dancer Irvin was with in the hotel room. And then while he's on probation, he stabs a teammate in the neck with his scissors. And they pay him off so he doesn't go to prison. Not like a paper cut. I mean, he took the scissors and the jugular. Everett MacGyver. How he made it, I never know. But it was just a beef over seniority and who's getting their hair cut first. And like the lunatic he is, he just stabs him with the scissors.
Okay, I'm going to have to watch it.
You got to watch that. Yeah. So this is nuts. So you're trading your 3-time All-Pro linebacker. They reach agreement already on a 4-year, $188 deal. Now I'm seeing $136 million guaranteed. A couple weeks ago, it was there's no way we're trading him. That's ridiculous. This was last week while you were on vacation. Jerry Jones on Michael Irvin's YouTube channel about blaming the agent, and we agree. I know where I'm at with Parsons. This deal is done.
When we wanted to send the details to the agent told us to stick it up our. We had our agreements on term, amount, guarantees, everything. We were going to send it over to the agent, and the agent said, don't bother because we've got all that to negotiate. Well, I'd already negotiated. I'd already moved off my mark over several areas.
Blaming the agent? Yep. Not happy? That's it. Traded 5 minutes ago. Bill Barnwell. The last 4 years, the Cowboys are the best defense with Parsons on the field, EPA per play. They're the league's second worst defense over that same stretch when he isn't on the field.
Yeah, and again, that's the equivalent of Nikola Jokic for the Nuggets.
Yeah.
On and off the court. Basically, the best offense in NBA history. When he's on the court, when he's off the court, they turn into the worst offense in the entire NBA. Numbers don't lie.
Yeah.
There's also this. Kenny Clark is going to the Cowboys as part of the deal. I don't like that. I do think the Packers gave up too much.
Oh, wow.
I mean, 2 first-round picks and Kenny Clark, and they're going to give him $188 million. That's a lot.
Yeah.
They better win something here, pal. It's been a long time. Again, this is not acceptable. They made it to 1 Super Bowl with Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah.
How does that fly? How is that cool? That is like, as we continue to hear more and more, the Yankees finally made it back to the World Series last year, couldn't win it, haven't won it since 2009. Is that acceptable?
That really is unbelievable when you think about it. So you had Favre and Rodgers for over 20 years, and they won 2 Super Bowls?
For 30 years.
30 years.
30 years, they won 2, made it to 3. Won 2 Super Bowls with the best stretch. Montana, Young, wasn't as many years. Compare another 30-year stretch to Aaron Rodgers and Brett Favre back-to-back, ever in the history of the NFL. I don't think you're going to find a tandem like that over that many years. Made it to 3, won 2. That's not good enough. I'm sorry, they failed. It's a failure. I know other fans of other franchises would say you're an idiot. If I'm the Browns, whatever, I take that. I understand that, but things are different, right? There are different goalposts for different teams, so to speak. And to have that, and this is part of the reason why they always failed. It's because they refused to make moves like this. They wouldn't go out and make a trade, and they were constantly under the salary cap. We can make a move. We're going to be conservative. We're going to build through the draft. You can trust us. We know what we're going to do. The resume speaks for itself. Actually, it doesn't. So this is part of the reason why I'm absolutely stunned beyond belief today, and a big-time reason why I do consider it a failure over 30 years. They were not aggressive enough. So
September 28th, Sunday Night Football, Green Bay at Dallas.
You have a number on that game?
No, I'm just pointing out that that's the game, but I'm sure we can find one.
I searched multiple books to find division odds. I couldn't see it. Our buddy Jeff Webster sent us a screenshot. Green Bay plus 260 to win the North. Now, I'm just talking numbers here. Again, I don't love the team, but plus 260, if you can find that, I think you got to bet it. I don't think it's going to be available any longer after this.
Absolutely. But... Yeah. I was high on him before. I mean, I'm my anti-Detroit crowd, you know.
I think they're going to probably close below 2-1 to win that division.
Green Bay is 1.5, 47's the total.
That's at Dallas?
That's what they have. It's up right now at DraftKings. You can bet it right now.
Dallas is awful.
Yeah. Tell me about it. I just read the Barnwell tweet.
Oh, boy. You know who's smiling big time? Uncle Lou Finocchiaro, who came on weeks ago.
Fewest wins.
Pounded his chest. I think he gave out Cowboys under 8.5 before it moved. And then he just made the case they might take a flyer on them at a huge number to be the worst team in the NFL.
Is there another trade behind this? Why not just trade Dak and say to hell with it? If you get off to a slow start.
No, he won't do that, though, because he's got to be good on offense.
Yeah.
Jerry has to. From Aaron Moore, VSiN contributor. Green Bay traded for John Jefferson in 1981 from the Chargers. JJ had 2 straight All-Pro seasons in 1981, 25 years old, wanted the Chargers to renegotiate the contract. They said no, traded him, much like the Parsons deal here today. I was 4 years old when that happened. So that's another one, though.
Why the 180? What happened? Was it his behavior? Maybe that meeting with Schottenheimer went sideways? Laying on the table? I don't know. How do you go from, get out of here, there's no way in hell I'm trading the guy.
Well, maybe
that's ridiculous. And then, right before the season, okay. But 2 number ones changes a lot of things.
I was going to say that probably did it, right?
Uh-huh.
They're like, okay.
That's a good price.
You're going to agree to 2 number 1 picks for Micah? Okay. Now we're talking. And we get Kenny Clark in return? I like the way that sounds. Kenny Clark's a good football player. Amazing. So if you're just tuning in right now, that's the deal. The Cowboys traded 3-time All-Pro linebacker Micah Parsons to Green Bay in exchange for 2 first-round picks. Kenny Clark is in the deal as well. And the Packers reached an agreement with him on a 4-year deal worth $188 million. Initially, the report said 120 fully guaranteed. Now you're seeing more than that, you said?
Yeah. He gets $62 million in the first year, the new year of the deal.
Pretty good.
Total of $136 million guaranteed. All records for non-quarterbacks. Oh.
FanDuel adjusted, Packers down to plus 170 to win their division.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think anything above, if you can find anything, in fact, like 2-1 or higher, just a numbers play again.
Yep. That is week 4. Sunday night. Green Bay 1.5 at Dallas. That's available at DraftKings. 1.5. It's going to be bad.
This is a great tweet.
Oh, they're going to be bad. They're going to be high scoring, high flying. Woo! The nature boy.
Such a great tweet. From @BetterPerson. Will DK make an announcement that they're aware?
That's good. You got the information first. No good. The future bet. Can't do it. How about if you live in Dallas? It's just you lose Luka and Parsons in the same year. Oh, this is tough. That's brutal. Now, you got lucky when you won the lottery, but still, that guy's beloved.
Paul,
everyone loves Luka in that area.
At what point do you tap out on going to Cowboys games?
Yeah, I would. Yeah.
So this is
unless there's another trade behind it. It's just you got it. It should have happened a long time ago. 30 years, totally unacceptable. Fan base is out of their minds. You shouldn't support that. 30 years they haven't made a title game.
Yep. This is from Front Wraps on X. He just found plus 210. Packers to win the North.
That's good.
Again, 2-1 or higher. I think you got to grab if you can find it.
Need a proxy? Join the world's biggest football contest with one trip to Vegas anytime before the season starts. Trusted by thousands of players over the last 9 seasons. Winner's Circle Proxy helped clients win over $9 million the last 2 years. Learn more about using a trusted proxy service. Visit winnercircleproxy.com/VSiN.
More on that coming up a little bit later on. VSiN.com managing editor Adam Burke on the program next. He thinks we're getting a bloodbath in a game tonight. Find out which one next.
This is Follow the Money on VSiN.
We have a big college football game kicking off here in a matter of moments. And Boise State, Pauly, the way it looks, they're going to close around 4.5 at most shops. Around 4.5, open 10.
Are you more shocked at this or what's going on in the Wyoming-Akron movement?
We have a great guest to, I guess, settle that debate as Adam Burke joins the program now. You can follow him on X at Skating Tripods. He is the managing editor over at vsin.com. Adam, I guess which move surprises you more here between Boise State, where they're at right now, and your Akron Zips?
I mean, I'm gonna just sit on the fence here and say both of them really surprised me. I guess the Akron one surprises me more because, I mean, this is a team that's bottom 5 in your power ratings on an annual basis, like without fail. I mean, I've kind of joked that, like, every time they ask me for money since I graduated from there in 2009, like, I'll give you money when the football team is actually worth something. This is a remarkable line move on a team that, like, nobody ever wants to bet on. So, I mean, even though my power ratings have this number not where it is right now, I have Wyoming 6.5-point favorite. I can't take them here. I mean, obviously I'm not getting any kind of value at 5 or 6 really, but just a wild line move there. The Boise State one makes sense to me though, because you got year 3 for Alex Golish at South Florida. You've got a team from the Pacific Northwest going and playing in the heat and humidity of Tampa. They lost Ashton Genty. They lost some other guys too. Like, there are reasons to think that this is a really, really bad spot and potentially a bad matchup for Boise State, with Byron Brown actually being as healthy as he's probably going to be for South Florida. But I think 4.5 is too low. I think this line's kind of run a little bit too far here at this point. I
would agree. And look, we kicked this around yesterday with several guests, Mike Palm, Matt Humans among them. Like, just pretend for 1 second that Ashton Genty is back. Like, overall, I mean, he meant a lot to the team last year. I get it, but running backs are somewhat replaceable, even the elite ones. Like, what's the point spread if he's back at Boise this year? Still 10? It's definitely higher than a touchdown, right?
Yeah, it's probably double digits, I would say. I mean, also you have to kind of consider, like, they are breaking in new running backs. They lost a couple of players on the defensive side, stuff like that too. But I don't know, man. I mean, South Florida, Alex Golish just doesn't beat good teams. I think it was in Phil Steele's magazine. They're 1-8 against teams with a winning record during his 2 seasons there. Boise State's going to finish with a winning record this year. So I don't know. I think there's a lot of people that they're taking the glass half full approach to South Florida here. And I don't know that that's the right side tonight.
Great job on the website too, as always, about how important this is that Boise's plus 180 to make the playoff. And the second choice is Tulane at 8-1. And what would happen if Boise stubs their toe here? How about the move in the Rutgers game? 10.5 up to 16 now. That goes in 20 minutes.
Yeah, I mean, I have this one 11. I haven't played Ohio. I don't know. One of the things that's important to keep in mind here, too, with some of these line moves in week 1, like, dudes might be suspended that we don't know about. And that's a possibility in a game such as this. I don't know that that's the case or not, but there's a lot of money coming in on Rutgers. And I realize Rutgers is a physical team. It's tough for MAC teams to kind of hold up against physicality, especially from Big Ten schools. But Ohio likes to play that kind of way. And Parker Navarro is a good dual threat quarterback. This is not a brand new coaching staff, even though they lost Tim Albin to Charlotte. The offensive coordinator, Brian Smith, stuck around. One of the co-defensive coordinators stuck around as well. So it's not like there's a ton of turnover here for this Ohio team. And they brought back a running back who was the starter for them 2 years ago. Played at Minnesota last year, barely saw the field, now came back to Athens for his final season. This one's too high to me, too, especially when you consider that I don't think this is going to be a high-scoring game with two teams that want to run the football, want to play physical, want to have long, sustained drives. So I think, with a lower scoring expectation, the more points you can get, the more valuable it becomes.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so how about the game tonight at Arrowhead Stadium in Kansas City, neutral here for Nebraska and Cincinnati, although we're going to see probably like 90% Cornhusker fans here in the stadium. Some books here, including Bet Rivers, move to 7. Most others are still at 6.5. Some of those are juiced like a minus 115 on Nebraska. Who do you like in this game?
Yeah, I think it's really interesting here that 7 was very much a point of resistance, right? Any book that ventured out to 7 here in the middle of the week, or Tuesday or Wednesday, I should say, they wound up going right back to 6.5. I like Cincinnati here. I mean, I know that you've got third-year Matt Rule. I know what he did at Temple. I know what he did at Baylor. I know what Dylan Raiola did in his final 4 games with Dana Holgerson as the offensive coordinator. but I think this Cincinnati team could actually be pretty good. I think Brendan Storsby's a really good quarterback. Maybe he's a guy that gets a little bit of draft buzz to be maybe a second or third rounder, something like that. I think Scott Satterfield in year 3 should improve this team as well. They spent some money on both sides of the ball in the portal. I just don't see Nebraska really, to me, as a team that's going to go out there and beat a lot of teams by margin this season. So I think in the first game, jitters both ways, playing in a stadium you're unfamiliar with. I think this is one that winds up being pretty tight here. Both of these teams don't want to make a mistake early. I like Cincinnati plus the 6.5 here. And I also think that something that's important to talk about here is that the new defensive coordinator for Cincinnati, Nate Veit, he's got some familiarity with Dana Holgorsen from his time at West Virginia and obviously knows his playbook pretty well from their time together in the Big 12. So I think that could be something that's a benefit for the Bearcats tonight.
Follow the money here on VSiN, the Sports Betting Network. Our guest, Adam Burke. You can follow him on X at Skating Tripods. He is the managing editor at vsin.com. And we're talking college football with him tonight. Great write-up, and I heard you talking about this on Money Moves earlier in the week. But Jacksonville State plays at Central Florida tonight. Scott Frost back, of course, with Central Florida. They're laying 20.5. It's up from where it was earlier in the week, but you are expecting a true beatdown in this game tonight. Give us the analysis here.
Yeah, I think UCF's going to boat race them here. And this is not a power ratings play for me. I have this number 17, so I was closer to where it was at the open. But there's just so many things pointing in UCF's favor here. I mean, I think they have 3 Division I FBS caliber quarterbacks, and it is going to be Cam Fancher who gets the start. But Ja'Cory Brown and Taven Jackson are both guys that can play at this level. I think we could see all 3 quarterbacks here tonight. But Jacksonville State, Tyler Huff was everything to this team last year. And the other guy who was everything to this team was Trey Stewart. Those 2 guys combined 54 touchdowns between Huff as a passer and a runner, and then Stewart as a runner. He was 5th in the nation in rushing yards. He's gone now. Clint Trickett's going to want to throw the football a little bit more. They don't have the personnel for it. Scott Frost embarrassed himself during his tenure at Nebraska. I think he wants to just let out some frustration and put a beat down on somebody tonight, and I think he has the chance to do it. UCF's going to be able to name the score in this one, and I don't think Jacksonville State can keep up.
Okay. Also excited for this one at 4 Pacific. The last time they played, it was a brawl. How about NC State 14 against East Carolina?
Yeah, these are always interesting games to me because, you get these revenge angles, these in-state little brother versus big brother types of angles here. As I was going through and I wrote the American Conference preview for our college football betting guide that came out earlier this month, and as I was looking through it, I was like, you know what? Maybe East Carolina is kind of a dark horse in the American Conference. I think them and North Texas are double-digit prices that have a shot to make a little bit of noise here in a conference that I just think top to bottom isn't really all that strong. But for NC State, I mean, 2-touchdown favorite here. They've got plenty of incentive to play. They have plenty of incentive to go out there and look a lot better than they did the last time they played this team. I look at this game. I have NC State minus 10 from a power rating standpoint. I think there's a little bit of value on East Carolina, but the little brother, big brother thing, when big brother's actually pissed off and wants to play, I think it kind of changes the dynamic of that handicap.
Good point. You do anything with this Missouri game as they're hosting Central Arkansas? Both quarterbacks for Mizzou going to play a full half. They have dominated FCS opponents in their last 8, averaging like 59 points per game. Was there a bet here worth making in your opinion?
So I don't line FCS games. This is not one that was on my radar, but I think it's interesting you bring up that, both quarterbacks are going to play a half here because theoretically one is better than the other, right? And you're talking about a really big spread here, 38.5 points. The lesser guy, it seems like, is probably going to play the second half in this one. So that would be a pretty big concern to me when you talk about laying a really big number. And similarly, like tomorrow night with Auburn and Baylor, with Auburn 2.5-point favorite, total 58.5 in that game. Like Auburn's going to use 3 different play callers. Like they're going to use different play callers based on the down that it is. Like I have no idea how these things are going to work out. So I think it makes handicaps like that really, really challenging where it's hard enough with all the guys that have moved around in the portal and the coaching carousel. You start adding these other wrinkles, these other factors, these other unknowns. It kind of makes me want to stay away from those types of games until I see, how those things really play out.
Fair enough. This week, the Pro Football Betting Guide version 2.0 dropped. What can the audience expect when they get it?
Yeah, so unfortunately, we kind of had a big trade here today with Micah Parsons going to the Packers. So that is not in the NFL 2.0 guide. But, you're going to get updated team previews, some players to watch from a prop standpoint week to week, from a fantasy football standpoint if you still have your drafts coming up. Steve Makinen's week 1 betting systems, a lot of contest strategy stuff for the Circa Million as well as Circa Survivor, or if you're in your own Pick'em or your own Survivor, and then a fresh set of best bets from our VSiN hosts and contributors. So good guide, $9.99 intro offer is very much worth your while right now at vsin.com.
That is a smoking deal. Adam, thanks for the time as always, and best of luck tonight.
Have a good one, boys.
There you go. You need to read his content and everybody else at vsin.com every day. There's so much of it, and it's always outstanding. Up next, Tip Jar is open. We'll take you inside Mitch and Pauly's Pizzeria coming up here on VSiN.